The moment my message hit the chat, the group that had been buzzing with hundreds of people discussing work went dead silent. A few seconds later, Rose Jenkins' messages exploded across the screen. Stella, what the hell are you talking about? I'm 3 months pregnant. I've got the ultrasound right here. How dare you make stuff up about me? Everyone come look. Stella can't have kids herself, so she can't stand seeing anyone else pregnant. At HR at Philip, look at the kind of person you hired. I'm calling the police. This is defamation. This is harassment. She started making a scene, and people jumped in to back her up. Every finger pointed straight at me. Paisley Gill from the design department wrote, Stella, that's way too far. How can you say something like that to a pregnant woman? That's seriously messed up. Someone else tried to calm Rose down. Rose, take it easy. Don't get upset for the baby's sake. Stella was just joking. But Rose wasn't letting it go. Joking? Who jokes like that? We're not even that close. She's just jealous I married well, and I'm carrying my husband's baby. My pregnancy's already unstable. The doctor told me over and over that I need to be careful. And this woman's out here, pounding her keyboard like a construction drill. If anything happens to my baby, she's the first one I'm coming after. People from other departments started chiming in too. Exactly. She already said she's not feeling well. Can't you keep it down a little? It's already afternoon. Can't your proposal wait until tomorrow? Why are you picking on a pregnant woman? Reading all of that, I actually laughed. In my last life, this was exactly how they cornered me, step by step, until there was nowhere left to go. I explained again and again that I was using a silent keyboard. I even carried my laptop out into the hallway just so I wouldn't bother her. And what did I get in return? A kettle of boiling water poured over me from head to toe. By the time I died, my skin had been burned raw, my skull cracked under the heel of her shoe. The last thing I saw in this world was Rose's twisted, hysterical face. I closed my eyes. I could still feel the searing heat of that water, as if it had burned itself into my soul. Anger and hatred surged in my chest, crashing into each other. Rose kept tagging me in the chat, as if she had gone completely off the rails. What, cat got your tongue? Why aren't you saying anything now? Feeling guilty? Did you do it on purpose? You just don't want me to have a good life, right? I finally got pregnant and you had to ruin it, didn't you? If anything happens to my baby, can you afford to pay for it? Are you going to pay with your life? I stared at her text, and whatever restraint I had left finally snapped. I hit record and sent a voice message into the group, my tone cold and steady. Pay with my life. Pay you back for what? The crap you're carrying?
Fine. Come over right now.
If you've got the nerve to drop your pants in front of the whole company, I'll jump off this building on the spot and pay for your so-called son with my life. The voice message I sent blew up the entire office. The group chat went dead silent for a full minute. Then, a commotion broke out in my direction. I looked up and saw Rose clutching her stomach, being helped along by a few women from the office. Her eyes were red, like she had been crying the whole way over. Stella. Her voice came out sharp and shaky, as if she had been wronged in the worst way possible. How can you be this cruel? What did I ever do
to you?
Why are you humiliating me like this? I'm carrying a boy. My family's only ever had one son in each generation. You really can't stand the thought of him being born. The women around her immediately jumped in. Stella, what's wrong with you? She just started here, and you're already bullying her? Seriously? What about when you have kids someday? Would you want someone talking about your child like that? Picking on an unborn baby? Aren't you scared of karma? Rose bent over like she was about to throw up, playing it up perfectly. Tears came the second
she wanted them to.
She leaned weakly against someone beside her. I'll kill you. You ruined my reputation. I'll kill you. Her voice was shrill, grating against my ears, dragging old memories back up with it. Just thinking about how this cross-dressing maniac had tortured me to death in my last life made my whole body shake. And when Rose said she was going to kill me, something inside me snapped. I shot to my feet, shoved the women around her aside, and grabbed her by the collar. Kill me? You already did that once. Go on. Keep acting. Where's your bump? Where's the ultrasound? Show it to me. Rose froze, clearly thrown off by my tone. After a couple of seconds, she lunged at my face, fingers clawing. I twisted out of the way and stuck my foot out. Rose went down hard, face first. The memory of that boiling water pouring over my head came rushing back, the pain so vivid that it made my vision flash. My anger surged. I stomped down on her back and grabbed a fistful of that smooth wig, slamming her head toward the floor. Keep pretending. Go on. Let's see what you really are. Pinned under my foot, she could only scream, high and wild. Help. Someone help. Stella's lost it. She's trying to kill me. My baby. Her shrieking pulled more people over. Hands grabbed at me from all sides, dragging us apart. 2 guys pinned my arms before I could even catch my breath. It had only been half an hour since I came back. Half an hour ago, I had died at the hands of this lunatic right in front of me. How the hell was I supposed to stay calm? But once they pulled me away, everyone started pointing fingers at me instead. Have you lost your mind? You started this, and now you're hitting a pregnant woman? I can't believe someone like you works here. That's seriously messed up. I already called security. If you try anything again, we're calling the police. Without me holding her down, Rose got bold. Again. They helped her up. She clutched her stomach and pointed at me, crying like she had been wronged. Did you all see that? She's jealous of me. She wants my baby dead. She staggered toward me and raised her hand, aiming for my face. I tried to fight back, but the guys holding me tightened their grip. You still want to swing back? Just stay still. When Rose saw that I couldn't move, her face twisted into a smug, ugly grin. Her words got harsher and harsher. You can't even have kids. You should just die already. The others piled on, saying I had no empathy. Paisley stood there, comforting Rose, then shot me a cold look. Don't you have any sense of decency? How could you push a pregnant woman this far over a proposal? What were you even thinking? She's pregnant and still coming into work every day. That's not easy. If you keep this up and something happens to her, are you going to take responsibility? I struggled against their grip and raised my voice. How many times do I have to say it? I'm using a silent keyboard. How exactly am I bothering her? Through quantum vibrations besides, she says she's pregnant. But has anyone here actually seen her checkup reports? Has anyone seen her husband pick her up? My words made a few people hesitate. I could see the doubt creeping into their faces. Rose immediately dug into her bag and pulled out a wrinkled sheet of paper. This is my ultrasound. It clearly says I'm 12 weeks pregnant. I let out a short, cold laugh. Funny. A minute ago, you said my typing sounded like construction work, and it was hurting your belly. Now, you're yelling and crying this loud, and your precious son's just fine? Everyone paused. Paisley frowned, murmuring under her breath. That's true, when I was pregnant, I couldn't even handle loud noises, let alone something like this. How is her baby this tough? Right then, security rushed over, taking in the tense scene. Everyone calm down. Let's talk this out. Rose, who had been acting bold just moments ago, suddenly covered her mouth and gagged. After a long moment, she spoke weakly. My stomach hurts. It must be from when she shoved me. Something's wrong with the baby. I need to go to the hospital. If I lose my child, Stella, I won't let you off even after I'm dead. There was no way I was letting her get off that easily. Great. Let's go to the hospital. I'll go with you. And while we're at it, I'll get you checked in the men's department too. Might as well take a look at your prostate. Rose instantly lost it, pointing at me and screaming. You're insane. You're making things up. I'm going to sue you for defamation. I turned to everyone else. You all heard that, right? One hospital visit, and we'll know the truth. If she is really pregnant, I'll apologize in front of everyone. I'll cover every cent of the medical bills. Then I looked straight at Rose. You dare to go? I grabbed her arm and started pulling her toward the door. Come on, let's go now. Let the whole company see what you're really carrying. All eyes were on her, waiting. Rose's face kept shifting, pale 1 second, flushed the next. She never imagined that the girl she used to push around so easily would come back like this, all sharp edges and no fear. She clung to the desk, refusing to move. Then suddenly, as if something clicked, she let out a loud cry and dropped straight to the floor. A pool of blood spread quickly beneath her. She reached out, hand trembling as she pointed at me, her eyes filled with venom. My baby, you killed my baby. An ambulance rushed her away, and the whole office fell into chaos. Paisley pointed at me, shaking with anger. Are you happy now? You caused her to lose her child. Another coworker had already dialed the police. Hello? Yes, we have someone here who assaulted a pregnant woman and caused a miscarriage. I stood there beside the spreading blood, watching everything with a cold, steady gaze. That wasn't blood. It was red ink. That liar really had planned this all out. It didn't take long for the police to arrive. Rose had already been taken to the hospital for emergency treatment, and as the prime suspect, I was brought in for questioning. The office security footage had captured everything clearly. From the message I sent in the group chat, to Rose showing up at my desk with a crowd to me knocking her down, and finally to her so-called miscarriage. Every piece of evidence was stacked against me. Inside the interrogation room, the officer's face was hard and unreadable. Ms. Long, why did you use that much force on a pregnant woman? Just because she asked you to keep it down? Do you understand that what you did qualifies as intentional assault? I met his eyes, calm and steady. I didn't. First, I never intended to hurt her. Second, she's not pregnant. She's a man. The officer frowned. We've already confirmed with the hospital. The injured party is Rose Jenkins, female, 12 weeks pregnant. Due to severe impact, the pregnancy was lost. What else do you have to say? I let out a small laugh. The hospital? Which doctor ran that exam? Bring them here. Let's talk face to face. I've said it already. Rose is a man. There's no fetus in there, just a silicone implant and a bag of red ink. That made them pause. They probably hadn't seen a suspect this stubborn before. One of the male officers slammed his hand on the table. You still won't admit what you did? The surveillance footage, your coworker's statements, the hospital report, everything points to you. You think making things up will get you out of this? I didn't look away. I didn't do anything wrong. Why would I need to get out of anything? I want to see Rose. I'll prove it in front of you. I'll prove she's a man. If I can't, I'll take full responsibility, no arguments. My certainty made them hesitate. After a few minutes of quiet discussion, they decided to take me to the hospital for a face-to-face. When we got there, Rose was lying in a hospital bed. She was pale and hooked up to an 4, looking weak enough to fall apart. Paisley and a few others were standing guard beside her. The second they saw me, they rushed over like I was something dangerous. You've got some nerve showing up here. You killed her baby. Paisley was practically shouting in my face. I ignored her and walked straight to the bed, looking down at Rose. Drop the act. You're overdoing it. The moment she saw me, her whole body jerked. She shrank back, eyes wide with fear. Don't come near me, you monster. What more do you want? You've already killed my baby. She cried like she was breaking apart, loud enough to draw everyone's attention in the room. Her eyes were full of panic as she grabbed Paisley's arm, voice trembling. Paisley, please, make her leave, okay? I'm scared when I see her. My baby, my poor baby. The others chimed in right away. Stella, are you really not going to stop until you drive her to death? Yeah, what's the point of this? That was a life. I waited until the officers were actually watching me, then let out a cold laugh. A life? Fine. Then let's figure out whose life that really was. The second I said that, Rose snapped. That's nonsense. My child died because of you. You're a killer. He was 3 months old. I could feel him moving inside me every day. Give me my child back. After shouting, she broke down into sobs again, the kind that made everyone around her soften. But this couldn't keep going. Just as Paisley stepped forward to comfort her, again I moved. I stepped up to the bed and yanked the blanket off. I know exactly who killed your child. Right in front of everyone, I grabbed the waistband of her hospital pants and pulled hard. Ah! The scream tore through the entire room. But it wasn't Rose. It was Paisley and the other women beside her. They covered their eyes, faces twisted in shock, like they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Even the officers froze. Under Rose's hospital gown, there was nothing female at all. Instead, what was there made everything unmistakably clear. So now, who's the killer? I let go and looked down at Rose, who had gone completely still, like his brain had shut off. Officer, that proves I was telling the truth, doesn't it? The room fell silent. Rose's face went from pale to flush. He had never imagined I would actually do it, right here in the hospital, in front of everyone. He yanked the blanket over himself, screaming like he had lost control. You're insane. You're completely insane. Paisley and the others finally snapped out of it, pointing at me, barely able to get their words out. Why you? Stella, this is just sick. I didn't bother responding. I turned to the officers. He strapped a silicone belly to himself with a packet of fake blood inside. And for the rest, he used props to make it look convincing. If you don't believe me, search his bag. You'll find everything. The officers exchanged a look and moved right away. Sure enough, inside Rose's backpack, they found a used silicone belly, an empty bottle of red ink, and a handful of items meant to fake a female body. That was all the proof they needed. Paisley, who had been defending Rose the loudest, looked like she might be sick. She stared at me, lips trembling, unable to say a word. As for Rose, the second everything fell apart, he suddenly jumped off the bed and bolted for the door. Don't let him run, I shouted. 2 officers reacted instantly, tackling him to the ground. Let me go. You can't arrest me. Rose struggled, still shouting. I didn't break the law. I identify as a woman. I can be mentally pregnant if I want. It was her, Stella's keyboard. It made me mentally miscarry. You should be arresting her. The officers actually laughed at that. Mentally pregnant? A mental miscarriage. An older officer stepped forward and crouched down in front of him. You can save that story for the judge. Cross-dressing while faking a pregnancy, forging medical records, scamming company benefits, and falsely accusing a coworker. You've got more than one charge coming your way. He snapped the handcuffs on. Right then, my boss, Philip Madron, and someone from HR rushed into the hospital. The moment they saw the scene, especially Rose pinned to the ground and all the fake props scattered around, their faces went dark. Paisley and the others lowered their heads, looking like they wanted to disappear. Philip walked over to me, his expression complicated. Stella, what happened here? Before I could answer, Rose suddenly started screaming again. Honey, help me, honey. He was yelling toward the door. We all turned to look. A man in a suit stood there, clean-cut and composed. He took one look at the room, hesitated for a split second, then turned like he was about to leave. Stop, I called out, my voice sharp. He paused and glanced back at me, frowning. You got the wrong person. I don't know any of you. With that, he turned like he was about to walk out. Rose clung to the doorframe, crying out after him. Honey, our baby's gone. It was that woman's fault. You have to help me. The man's brows pulled together. He glanced back at Rose, let out a tired sigh, and walked back in like he had no choice. His tone was sharp and impatient. Roy, why are you still bothering me? I told you already. Stay out of my life. Everyone froze, confused. Philip clearly hadn't caught up yet. He stepped forward, furious. You're Rose's husband? How could you walk out on your wife and child? What kind of coward are you? That set the man off. What child? This whole thing is a scam. I told him to stop a long time ago. He just wouldn't listen. Philip's anger flared even higher. He swung without warning and landed a punch. You're unbelievable. That's your kid, and you're talking like that? The man staggered, caught off guard, one hand to his face. I've done more than enough for him already. I got him into the company and paid for his apartment. All I asked was for him to stop showing up and bothering me. What more do you want? As he spoke, he pulled out a bank card and tossed it onto the floor. You want money, right? There's $40,000 on that card. Take it and leave me alone. If you keep this up, I'm calling the police. Philip grabbed him by the collar again. What are you talking about? Rose is about to get arrested for fraud. Do you even know that? The man shoved Philip off, shock flashing across his face. Arrested? Philip let out a cold snort. Now you're worried? Rose kept sobbing from the side. Honey, our plan's ruined. I fooled the whole company. Our money's gone. Just a few more months, and I would have finished my maternity leave and gotten the benefits. We could have left everything behind. Make her give my money back. The man stared at Rose, stunned. He shook his head and shoved Rose away, turning toward the door again. Why, you're out of your mind. Just then, another woman stepped into the doorway. She had a baby in her arms, crying and squirming. She looked around at the chaos, worry written all over her face. Honey, what's going on? The second Rose, or rather, Roy, saw her. His eyes went wide. He screamed and lunged straight at her. Kelsey, you damn snake. I knew it was you. You tipped them off, didn't you? You're trying to take all the money for yourself. Kelsey Banks was holding the baby, completely unprepared. Roy grabbed her by the hair in an instant. He yanked hard, screaming at the top of his lungs. You've been getting on my nerves forever. You can't even have a son yourself, so now you're trying to ruin me? I'm telling you, I worked too hard on this plan. I'm not letting you mess it up. Kelsey cried in pain, and the baby, terrified, started wailing. Shane Ortega, the man in the suit and also Kelsey's husband, rushed forward and took the child from her arms. At the same time, the officers and I pulled the two of them apart. Roy had gotten his hits in. Kelsey was left, bruised, clutching her baby and wiping tears from her face. Somehow, Paisley still had the nerve to sneer. Serves her right. That's what happens when you're the homewrecker. Kelsey's head snapped up, fury replacing the fear. Who the hell are you calling the homewrecker? She reached into her bag, pulled out 2 marriage certificates, and slapped them straight against Paisley's face. Open your eyes and look. Shane and I are legally married, Kelsey yelled. Paisley froze on the spot, completely thrown off, and shut her mouth. I stepped in, trying to explain to Kelsey. Ma'am, we didn't expect any of this either. We were all fooled by Roy. Kelsey snapped right back at me. Fooled? What kind of company are you running? A grown man slipped in and nobody noticed? Looks to me like you were all in on it. I'm calling the police right now. She lifted her phone, but Shane reached over and stopped her. Go take care of the baby. I'll handle this. Kelsey wasn't letting it go that easily. If you don't give me a real explanation today, we're done. She turned and walked down the hall, holding her child close. Shane sat down under the officer's watch and finally started talking. It turned out his marriage to Kelsey was arranged. Since she hadn't given birth to a son, his position in the Ortegas had been slipping, and he was getting shut out of the real inheritance. So he came up with a plan. He had his distant cousin Roy dress as a woman, get hired at a company with loose oversight but good benefits, pretend to be pregnant, and collect paid leave along with a big maternity payout. He promised Roy half the money if it worked. Roy took the deal out of greed. With Shane's Connections, he forged his identity and education records and got into our company without a problem. Everything went smoothly, right up until he ran into me. He had planned to do what he had done before. Pick a fight, blame someone else for an unstable pregnancy, then use that as an excuse to take leave and stage a miscarriage later. But I had gone through this life before. I didn't fall for it. After hearing all that, the room went quiet. Philip and HR both looked like their faces had been drained of color. With a scandal like this, the company was going to be a joke across the whole industry. But then, out of nowhere, Roy stood up from where he was cuffed, a strange, dazed smile spreading across his face. Oh, it's time to feed the baby. Before anyone could react, he broke free and rushed toward the water dispenser. We all just stood there, stunned. He went back to the bed as if nothing had happened, picked up a pillow, and cradled it in, his arms rocking it gently. It's okay, darling. Drink up. Once you're full, you won't cry anymore. He grabbed an empty cup and held it up to the pillow, making soft gulping sounds. After feeding it, he started folding the blanket, talking to himself. Once I get the money, we're leaving the country. We're never coming back. You need to grow up fast, okay? The light in the room felt off somehow. There was a softness on his face, as if he were really caring for a child. But the whole scene felt wrong, cold in a way that made your skin crawl. Shane was the first to break. He turned to the officers. Officer, he's lost it. I have to get back home to my kid. I'm leaving. The moment those words left his mouth, Roy's gaze snapped to him. Then he lunged at Shane and clamped his teeth down on his neck. A second ago, his voice had been soft. Now it turned sharp and ragged. Honey, why don't you come see the baby? We miss you so much. Look at him. Isn't he cute? His eyes were wide, unblinking, his jaw locked, tight as blood started to run down from the corner of his mouth. Shane struggled, panicking, trying to break
Free.
But Roy held on like something feral, refusing to let go.
Just like last time.
After I died, Roy's scam was eventually exposed by another coworker. He caused the same kind of chaos in the office, and in the end, in the middle of all that panic, he almost bit Shane to death when Shane came to deal with it. The only difference was that back then, I was the one lying on the ground. This time, I just watched. It took several officers working together to finally pull Roy off Shane. By then, Roy had to be fully restrained.
He was
still chewing on a piece of flesh he had torn from Shane's neck, a strange, twisted smile on his face. Backup arrived soon after. Once everything was sorted out, Shane was sentenced to 5 years for orchestrating the fraud. Roy got 15 years for violently resisting arrest and intentionally injuring others. Before serving his sentence, he was sent to a psychiatric facility for mandatory treatment. After learning the truth, Kelsey filed for divorce without hesitation and took her child along with everything that was rightfully hers. The company took a massive hit from the scandal. Its reputation collapsed and the stock price dropped hard. Philip was removed by the board. The entire HR department was fired. Paisley and a few others who had gone after me were also let go. The whole company went through a complete overhaul from top to bottom. As for me, after receiving a substantial settlement for emotional damages, I handed in my resignation. It was time to start over. I used the money to move back to my hometown and opened a small flower shop. Life settled into something quiet and peaceful. I thought all those people and everything that happened would slowly fade with time. Until one day, about a year later, a woman walked into my shop. It was Paisley. She looked older and worn down, with streaks of gray already showing at her temples. When she saw me, she froze for a long moment before forcing out a stiff, awkward smile. Stella,
It's really you.
I didn't answer. I just kept trimming the roses in my hands. I came to apologize. Her voice was low, shaking a little. Back then, I was blind. Stupid. I sided with that liar. After I got fired, I couldn't find another job, no matter how hard I tried. My husband left me over all of this, too. I don't have anything anymore. Her voice broke, and tears started falling. I set the scissors down and handed her a tissue. It's over, I said. She shook her head. It's not. I have nightmares every night. I see you getting burned with boiling water, getting hit over and over. And I hear you yelling at me, calling me stupid. Stella, I know you hate me. You can yell at me or hit me if you want. It might make me feel better. I looked at her and almost found it funny. Why would I hate you? You were foolish, not evil. The ones who were truly rotten were Roy and Shane. People who would do anything for money. You and the others were just tools to them, weapons without a mind of your own. She stared at me, stunned. Then she broke down, sobbing. I didn't say anything else. I turned and went to help another customer. She cried for a long time before finally leaving. After that, I never saw her again. And my life, at last, settled into real peace. Getting a second chance didn't just let me get my revenge. It let me see clearly how ugly and blind people could be. But in the end, the dark always passes. Morning always comes. I lifted my head, looking out at the bright sunlight, then leaned down and breathed in the soft scent of flowers filling the shop. A new life was waiting for me.